Why, hello there. Did you miss us? Because we missed you. Welcome back to the Fusion-only account. Last time, we took a dive into the gacha pool and pulled out our boy Brant, snagged his signature weapon, and grabbed some juicy Mortify sequence nodes along the way. Not a bad haul, right? But today, we're switching things up. We'll be diving deeper into the main story campaign, with a focus on the Mt Firmament and Black Shore zones in this episode. And that's not all. We're also setting off on some more personal journeys with the ever-precious Encore and the ever-so-stunning Changli, which is going to be an emotional ride. But before we jump in, here's a quick disclaimer. The next few Fusion-only episodes will be focused on catching up with the main story. Why? Well, we're trying to avoid another Harmony-only situation, where the story content just keeps piling up and turns into a mountain of editing madness. So if you're wondering why Brant won't be in the spotlight for a little while, that's the reason why. And hey, if you're enjoying the content, consider leaving a like, dropping a comment, or even subscribing to the channel. It really does mean the world to us, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. So, kick back, relax, and enjoy the episode. So, kicking things off, we return to Jinzhou's town hall where we meet up with Sanhua. She lets us know that while we were off saving Huanglong from the Threnodian threat, the magistrate of Jinzhou, Jinshi, decided to head out alone to find the Sentinel Jew on Mt Firmament. And, judging by her last call with Sanhua, yeah, she's having a pretty terrible time out there. So, naturally, Rover, being the helpful hero that she is, volunteers to venture out to Mt Firmament. But, before we can get there, Sanhua tells us we first need to meet up with a wayfinder in the Morning Aches Mire in order to catch a ferry that will take us to the mountain. So, we head out, and once we reach the ferry, we run into a very familiar face. Our girl, Changli, who, conveniently enough, is the wayfinder Sanhua told us to meet to reach Mt Firmament. Feeling reassured with one of our most trusted Fusioneers now at our side, guiding the way, we board the ferry, and after a bit of a shaky start, Changli begins to sing us a song, a gentle melody, meant to ease our nerves as our journey takes us into the unknown. Upon arriving on the shores of Mt Firmament, we're introduced to the region's puzzle mechanics, namely chronosorters and photon barriers. And as we eventually make our way to the base of the mountain, where time itself is frozen, we notice that not everything on the island is trapped in stasis. Because as we reach the town at the foot of the mountain, we're greeted by a very familiar enemy, the Fractsidus. So after putting the smackdown on a few of their members, we follow the resonance traces through the area and even uncover a secret hidden behind a waterfall. Classic. As we enter the hidden door behind the waterfall, we encounter some of the locals, people who, interestingly enough, aren't suspended in time. One of them is Lady Xinyi, who seems to recognize us, somehow. when we press her for more details. She reveals that Jinshi had also crossed paths with them during her search for the kidnapped sentinel, Jue, who's said to be hidden deeper within the mountain. But there's a problem. According to Lady Shinyi, Jinshi isn't doing well. She's showing early signs of overclocking. So, after a few battles to clear the way, and uncovering some interesting bits of background lore regarding the Sentinel, we eventually find Jinshi, who is locked in battle with some Tasset discords, looking worse for wear. So after a brief exchange with her and putting the smackdown on the Lumiscale boss, we finally make it to the entrance of the chamber where the Sentinel is being held prisoner. But we're not alone. Turns out the Fraxitus had been tailing us this whole time. So, with the situation heating up, Rover is told to proceed with Jinshi, while Changli stays behind, and shows us exactly why she's the main girl on this account.
How rude. This is not how we greet people here. Allow me to demonstrate the proper etiquette.
After Changli firmly asserts her dominance, we return to Lady Shinyi, who opens the gate to the main long chamber where the Sentinel is being held. She explains that the Fraxitus managed to trap the Sentinel using a chronosorter, one they installed directly inside the chamber itself. We also uncover a fascinating piece of background lore about Jinshi. Turns out, many years ago, Jinshi actually died on Mt Firmament. But through the Sentinel's power, she was resurrected and was brought to Jinzhou, where she was trained from a young age to become its magistrate as well as the Sentinel's appointed resonator. And so, after witnessing Jinshi's resolve firsthand, we set out once again, fighting our way through the deepest depths of the mountain, until we finally reach the main long chamber and come face to face with the Sentinel itself.
I can feel the Sentinel's presence inside, but it's not responding.
So, after finding the Sentinel, our next job is clear. We need to break them free. We begin by exploring the area and deactivating the 3 seals keeping the Sentinel trapped inside the chamber. While investigating, Jinshi comes across an old journal, one that speaks of the legend of Hongzhen. It recounts her resurrection, brought about by the Sentinel's own hands. Jinshi admits she's been thinking about this moment the entire journey to the chamber, because it turns out, when the Sentinel resurrected her, it lost the temporal program, the very program it once used to control time itself. And more than that, the Sentinel had been hiding this truth from her all along. In that moment, Jinshi realizes what must be done. She's destined to face the Sentinel in a one-on-one battle for full control of the temporal program. And so, after standing by Jinxi's decision and showing her our full support, we finally free the Sentinel. After freeing the Sentinel Jew from their imprisonment, they speak with us and drop a very interesting piece of lore about Rover. Turns out, before losing their memories, Rover was once known as the Arbiter. But when we press for more details, the Sentinel simply says, "All in due time." And, for now, Rover, being the Arbiter, must make a choice. You see, the Sentinel is dying. Worn down by ancient wounds, they've been relying on the main long chamber just to stay alive. But thanks to the Fraxitus interference, the chamber can no longer provide the support they need. The Sentinel explains that ever since the day they descended from the mountain, freezing the tacit discords of Mt Firmament in temporal stasis, they've been using their own life force to sustain the city of Jinju against the spreading temporal disruption. And if they die, Jinju falls. But the Sentinel has a plan. They intend to engulf the entire region of Jinzhou in a powerful temporal field, freezing everything and everyone in time. However, it would come at a cost of their life. But they hope that neighboring nations might one day find a more permanent solution. However, Jinxi isn't convinced. She calls out the flaw in the Sentinel's plan, arguing that freezing Jinju would not guarantee that neighboring regions will help. So the Sentinel turns to her and asks what her solution would be. And this is where it all comes together. Jinxi declares that if they fulfill the ancient prophecy, their colliding resonance powers could trigger a second resonance awakening, one powerful enough to invoke the temporal mandate and restore the natural flow of time. However, the Sentinel is firmly opposed to Jinxi's plan. They warn her that even the slightest mistake during the resonance clash will cause her to overclock, leaving her as nothing more than an empty husk. To the Sentinel, freezing time is the only way to save Jinzhou. But Jinxi isn't backing down. She tells the Sentinel that, just like them, she's willing to go against fate itself to protect her people. At this point, Rover steps forward and offers to help. While our role as the Arbiter is typically one of observation, we are not forbidden from intervening. And by stepping in, we may be able to improve Jinxi's odds of survival, even if only by a fraction. The Sentinel proposes a desperate but precise plan if Rover can time it perfectly. They will transfer the temporal mandate to Jinxi at the exact moment she reaches the threshold of overclocking, just before death. But there's a catch. If Rover misses the timing, even by the smallest margin, Jinxi will die. And so, after promising to keep Jinxi safe, we prepare to fight the Sentinel.
I should have died a long time ago. But I was lucky enough to be saved by you, allowing me the chance to see the glittering lights of Jinzhou for myself. You rewinded time to save me. I am responsible. Jinzhou is my home. If it's ever in danger, I will do everything in my power to protect what I hold dear. even at the cost of my own life.
Such a valiant speech. Do you know the weight of this decision?
I understand your concerns. I will reach my second awakening with our destined confrontation and restore the time flow. Are you willing to bet on me?
Restore the time flow. Pray, from where does this confidence arise? You are my resonator, but your strength is only a fraction of mine. There is little chance for you to retreat unscathed.
But I can at least win some hope for our people. Even if it costs me my soul, my everything. I cannot die without trying. I may only bear your power for a fleeting moment. It's all I need to secure a better future for Jinzhou, defying all of your predictions, and I can keep you safe. If there is anyone who can face you in a fight, that person has to be your resonator. I will be your final winning move in this game.
Are you truly ready to challenge a being worshipped by your kind? Will you not regret it when you meet your bitter demise?
I will not regret it, no matter what.
Very well, Magistrate of Jinzhou. Come to the summit. Demonstrate your prowess. Show me how you shall be my triumphant ace. Lady Arbiter, one is curious about your choice this time. Wherever the tides may take us, you will bear witness to our fight.
Government must be guided by virtue. Chi, do you keep this in mind?
Yes, virtue must come first. Politics, commerce, it all must serve the people.
From now on, you shall be known as Jinshi, bearing Jinzhou's name as your own. What do you think of this world?
Like here. Darkness clings, but lights flicker in the gloom.
A guiding light's not easily lit.
That's why they stand out so brightly against the darkness.
As we reach the summit of Mt Firmament, the Sentinel awaits us at the Sonorosphere, the place where the destined battle will finally unfold. The Sentinel explains that only we, as the Arbiter, have the power to open the Sonoro, and it's here at this very place that the fate of Jinzhou will be decided. After giving both the Sentinel and Jinshi our final decision, we finally open the Sonorosphere, and that's when things get wild. The game forces us to play as Jinshi, clearly not getting the memo on what this fusion-only series is all about, but hey, we roll with it. After taking the Sentinel down to about a quarter health, and with a flawless gameplay to cutscene transition, Jinshi goes full Goku. And just like that, we're yanked straight out of the fight into a full-blown Star Fox segment, complete with Metal Gear Rising-style quick-time events. And in the end, with blood, sweat, and a lot of nostalgia, Jinshi finally manages to defeat the Sentinel.
Lady Arbiter, may this one transfer the temporal mandate to Jinshi. This one has heard your decision. What do you think of this one?
They deserve a bright future.
The transfer has been carried out as you instructed. Jinshi, one shall honor one's promise and restore Jinjo's future to you and its people.
As the battle between Jinshi and the Sentinel comes to a close and Jinshi gains full control of the Temporal Mandate, we return to the summit where she now rests in the Sentinel's energy, recovering from the fight, alive and well. The Sentinel tells us that now that the crisis has passed, they're ready to answer any questions we have. When we ask about their past, Ju reveals something unexpected. Rover was once their master. Long ago, Ju traveled alongside us and eventually helped us found and establish Jinju. Our past self had even tasked the Sentinel with safeguarding the city's prosperity. When Rover asks why her memories were lost, the Sentinel admits they don't know. Everything they know about the Arbiter came from Rover herself. Even they have no answer for what caused the memory loss. As we process all this, the Sentinel notices something strange. Our tacit mark is acting up, so we summon our little homie, Abby, and upon waking up, he's immediately ready to throw hands. But after realizing the Sentinel has no hostile intent, Abby does what Abby does best. He chews us out for letting him oversleep and miss all the action up to now. When Rover asks the Sentinel if they recognize what type of tacit discord Abby is, they respond with another curious detail. Our past self must have intentionally allowed Abby to remain within our tacit mark. A decision made long ago, for reasons only we once knew. Finally, Rover asks if there's anyone else in the world who might have answers. The Sentinel points us toward a distant land, the Black Shores. And with that, after the Sentinel says the thing,
The Wuthering Waves ebb and flow.
we make our way back to Hongzhen, unaware that we're being watched from the shadows by one of the Fractitus overseers, Frolova, which for now brings this chapter of our journey to a close. Now we know we said at the beginning of the episode that we'd be diving into the Black Shores Zone and covering a few companion quests in this episode. And yeah, sorry if we got your hopes up. However, what we didn't expect was just how long the Mt Firmament arc would go. Turns out, 20 plus minutes of background lore, drama, boss fights, and Abby and Chang Li showing their muscle mounts up, and took over the episode. So here's the plan. In the next episode, we'll be tackling the Black Shores arc of the story. and the companion quests for Changli and Encore in their own focused episodes alongside Brant's so that we can give them the appreciation that they deserve. And hey, if you made it all the way to the end of this one, thank you. Seriously, it means the world to us. Whether you're here for the lore, the gameplay, or just to hang out, we appreciate you more than you know. And we especially want to thank you for sticking with us after our little unscheduled hiatus. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all in the next one.